Welcome to Life by Design for Chiropractors, episode 117.
Welcome to Life by Design, the podcast for chiropractors. Here's your host, Dr. Jamie Richards.
Welcome to Life by Design for Chiropractors. I'm your host, Dr. Jamie Richards. On today's episode, I bring on my pal, Dr. Horatio Jug, and we talk about 3 reasons you feel like shite selling chiropractic. So we talk about the idea of selling and what some of the incongruencies are with your belief systems around selling, and then we share with you some other reasons why you just feel bad. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling inauthentic, if you feel the stress and the anxiety, I know I felt that for years in quote-unquote selling chiropractic, then we're going to break down the reasons why and give you some solutions to overcome those and have you feeling really great about making really wonderful agreements with people in your practice. Also check out our Life by Design dailies. This is something we're putting together where you can get daily coaching resources from Life by Design, emails, videos in your inbox every single day. And of course, they're going to be easy to consume, 3 minutes or less. So go ahead, check that out in the show notes. You can also find it on our Instagram bio. And guys, enjoy today's episode of Life by Design for Chiropractors. Horatio, welcome to Life by Design for Chiropractors.
Happy to be here, as always.
Can you see me?
No, this one's pretty shut. It's pretty closed.
Do you not get adjusted?
Yes, the miracle cure for everything.
Or did you run into Apollo Creed?
Oh man, no! If I had to run into somebody, it would be Ivan Drago for sure.
Oh yes,
for sure. Yeah. No, it's allergies, and as much as we wish that chiropractic would make everything better, it doesn't.
Well, that is part of what we're talking about today. We're talking about the 3 reasons that you feel like shit selling chiropractic.
Yeah,
and actually, I'm not even sure. Does Facebook flag videos with swear words in them?
I guess we're going to find out.
So,
because Facebook apparently has no rhyme or much like our governments these days. There's no rhyme or reason for for any of the rules that are being imposed.
Well, that's it. We're not really sure if Facebook's going to flag this or not, and if they did once, doesn't mean they would again. Because you're right, there really seems to be no rhyme or reason. But that's for another time. Today, we're talking about the 3 reasons that you do feel like shite. Let's say selling chiropractic. And there's lots to dig into here, even just the idea of selling chiropractic, which we'll come back to. I do want to mention something new that we put together to help docs that we're excited about. And I know we've been doing this for some time already. So if you are getting our emails, you already understand this. You get an email every single day. It takes us back to the old Reggie Gold 10 minutes a day video was the inspiration for this. So ours are called the retention-based practice dailies. And if you want to get the dailies, then you can actually go to our Instagram bio and you can go to the Facebook page, Life by Design for Chiropractors. And both of them have a link to the page where you can put your name and email and you'll actually get free retention-based practice dailies. So essentially how to grow and build your dream practice in 3 minutes or less every single day. Okay, so I know you're going to love those. We've got a lot of great feedback. We've got videos coming soon as well. But every day there's a snippet of training in some way, shape, or form. I'm just thinking today how valuable, the email that we put together about completing corrective care as an example. That alone just is an area that people completely miss. And again, probably time for a different podcast on that. But guys, just go to the Instagram bio and go to the Facebook page and you can see the retention-based practice dailies link. Head over there, put your name and email in, and you'll start getting emails every single day, 5 days a week. And you can consume them in less than 3 minutes every single day and start growing your dream practice. So let's dive in here, Horatio. Number 1, the biggest reason we were talking about this is, why is it that chiropractors feel bad selling chiropractic? And I think the first caveat here, we won't go in depth too much, but just the idea of selling. First of all, you might have a red flag about selling. That could be a whole other one that we didn't actually think about in our 3 is just, the context of you think selling is bad and we think selling is good. Selling is an exchange. It is a win-win. It's, Dan Sullivan, a strategic coach. I'm going to get the definition wrong, but essentially getting somebody engaged in a future benefit that is good for them and then having them follow through with that. So to me, that's what selling is. And, there's three reasons why we hear over and over again that chiropractors feel bad selling chiropractic. So let's just put selling to the side and assume selling is good. There's still three reasons. Even if you felt selling was amazing and important, there's still three reasons that you might feel in your heart and in your gut, bad about making agreements with people, which is really what we consider selling. So, Horatio, the first one is philosophical incongruence. Tell us about that.
Well, we kind of hinted at that one already, right? It's the fact that there is a misunderstanding on what chiropractic can actually do for this person. And it actually falls in two realms in chiropractic, right? So there's the chiropractor who believes that, you have no right to be sick when chiropractic gets all people well. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side of that is the practitioner who feels that anything outside of a musculoskeletal issue, chiropractic has, you have no right seeing this person as a chiropractor. Right. And,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we've explained those as second paradigm, third paradigm, first paradigm. Yeah. And, I think that, as you said, with the concept about allergies and, have you not got adjusted? I think that if you fall in one of those two camps, but in your mind, you still want to, quote unquote, grow your practice. You still want to take on every patient. Your belief system is that chiropractic is only good for certain conditions, but yet no matter what condition somebody comes in with, you're trying to make an agreement or sell them on chiropractic, or vice versa. You believe that it's only good for musculoskeletal conditions, but hey, there's not enough money in the bank account, or hey, you want to grow your practice. And so you're trying to make an agreement with this person or sell this person on the benefit of, what you're going to do, but you don't actually believe that it's true.
Yep, I totally agree. And of course, the truth is neither of those. The truth is chiropractic, properly applied is meant to restore the function of the nervous system. And you can't predict what, health effects that's going to have on this particular human being, because you don't dictate how that person's body heals. Their body dictates how it heals. And being able to, number one, understand that and then explain that in a way that the other person is going to say, I understand what you're saying. Totally. Right. And then to have the self-confidence to say, well, this is the product that I can offer. Here's the guarantees or the promises. You're going to notice, a change in these objective measures, but I'm not exactly clear on how that's going to present physiologically. Other people have noticed this, and being able to, number one, understand that. And then number two, communicate that in a way that the other person is going to find at least desirable, or in a way that they will find it understandable, is one of the reasons why a lot of docs still struggle with the idea of getting people under care.
Well, what's interesting is most doctors, and this goes back to the email we were talking, most doctors don't actually struggle with people getting under care. They struggle with having people stay under care, right? I mean, if you come in, as the email alluded to, you come in with any type of condition, whether it be pain or a musculoskeletal condition or an organic condition or some reason that brought you to a chiropractor, you want help. You obviously see that person as a solution. It's easy to get somebody started into the process. It's difficult, or they find it difficult to have somebody continue because either they feel better or they feel worse or they feel nothing at all. But really, that is the crux of a retention-based practice. That is the crux of everything, that we think is important in a chiropractic practice and even in a business. And for us, it's all this positioning and exactly what you said. I mean, you essentially said the exact communication to a patient. Look, I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know this. And that's one of my favorite communication frameworks is I don't know X, but I do know this. And so when you are clear on what you do know, I know that objectively there's a problem with your spine and nervous system. I know that our process can help to correct or benefit you in some way, shape, or form. Do I know what those outcomes are going to look like? I don't. Now, I've got lots of cases to say that, people have significant physiological change, and we all know that through correcting subluxation. But at the end of the day, if I correct your subluxations, you could still have the same condition. Now, it could be the matter of that your condition is not primarily subluxation related. It could be that you haven't actually maintained a clear nervous system for a long enough time. Or it could be that you haven't maintained a clear nervous system for a long time, plus haven't done all the other supportive things that need to be in place for the body to heal and recover. So there's a lot of factors there. And again, the philosophical congruence is And then the answer is to get clear on what it is chiropractic is, so you can actually offer that to somebody in a way, as you said, Krisha, that is most desirable.
Yeah. So there's also, just to add to that, and this is more covered in training camp and the things that we do, but there's a big difference between the practitioner who has systems in place, right? So somebody comes in and they're a lot of pain, and the conversation is, well, typically we don't see anybody on the first visit, but here's an exception, right? So
right.
if there's a big difference between talking, like you said, there's no problem getting people started. Well, yeah, of course, if they see you as a solution, there's no problem getting people started. But it's the, you have to make sure that your actions are following what you want the person to do, not just your words, right? Because talking about things is easy. Actually doing something, and because it's painful, right? It's painful to say to somebody, listen, I understand you're in a lot of pain, but I need some time to review this examination. So we're not going to see you until next week, because it's holiday for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah. Well, yes, there's lots of times where somebody will come in, it's a day 2 and I'm away for a week, or they'll come in for a day 2 and they're away for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. We don't start the process with that person. We have very set guidelines as to when we start the chiropractic corrective care phase. There needs to be a period of time. There needs to be, a bunch of other pieces in place for us to know that we're going to get the end result. And as you said, it's holding people and yourself accountable to that. Even in the reply to the doctor that we were chatting about, in the email, when I spoke with him and I said, look, now we've got some systems in place to make better agreements. And week 1 went great for him, by the way. And he was super happy and he was making great agreements. And I said, that's awesome. I said, but what's going to happen is you're going to get some really tough cases, and you're going to probably get a string of them. And this is going to be your jumping point. Either you're going to stick with it, or you're going to jump off and be right back where you were before. So I think what you're saying is integrity, right? Whatever the clarity is you come up with, the systems you create, then you need to have integrity around them. The second one is that, people are more concerned about your prospects liking you or your patients liking you than you are with them actually getting the result or following through. And so, of course, then you feel bad because you're saying things to them that really aren't going to yield the best results. Deep down, there's a lot of stuff there probably. And I mean, we've all been there for sure. A lot more earlier in my career. I'm sure it still creeps up from time to time. But for the most part, if you want them to like you, then at the end of the day, you're going to feel bad because you're not telling them what they need to be doing. You're just telling them what you think that they want to hear.
Yep. And I would love to tell you and lie that I don't still experience this, but every once in a while, there are, situations where I need to be like, okay, like you have to really, and it's good. I love stuff like this now, before, like you said, the tough cases, I love the tough cases. This is the stuff that makes you a better practitioner, right? So if you have a certain sense that, well, it's 2 things, right? If you're sitting down with somebody and you feel uncomfortable telling them something, number one, maybe you need to reconsider what you're telling everybody, because, I think, what does Mike call it? The friend test. I didn't pass the friend test, right? If I feel bad telling my friends this, maybe I need to change what I'm saying. Right. The other thing is maybe I need to reevaluate my relationship with this person in this situation. Right? The fact of the matter is you're a doctor and you took an oath to help people. And sometimes that means having an uncomfortable conversation with somebody.
Totally. Reminds me of the old school confrontational tolerance tapes back in the 80s. Love that stuff. Greg Stanley.
Greg Stanley, yeah.
Yeah. If people get your hands on those, then they're worth a good listen. The third one, this is maybe, it's hard to classify which one's, more significant, but this is rampant, obviously, in the chiropractic profession. It's been there for decades. It was there from the moment I got into chiropractic, and really, we got into chiropractic in, the 2000s, early 2000s. And, that was back in the day when people actually went to seminars, went to hear people speak, and, everything was offline in that sense. And it's this need to serve humanity through chiropractic. Now, there's obviously a caveat here, which Krisha and I had discussed before. And it's, again, just think back to, all the people up on the stage, and, even now, probably videos that you see. And it's this, drive for people to want to save chiropractic or save humanity through chiropractic. And so the caveat here is, if you're doing that and that's how you feel, you're not going to feel bad. You're going to feel good if you don't have a problem with it. If this isn't, a problem, if it's not an issue for you, then you're not going to feel bad. So you just skip this one. But problem is for most people, and I would say most people, they're led to believe that they have to, right? That they are required to serve humanity through chiropractic. Like, go serve. It's time to serve. We got to serve people. And that somehow we're going to change the world through chiropractic. And I hate to burst people's bubble, and probably going to leave me on another rant like usual on this topic, but I hate to burst people's bubble because I was there, and my bubble had to get burst for me to actually become successful. My bubble had to get burst for me to become successful. This world of, chiropractic changing the planet and, one spine at a time. And it all sounds great and they're amazing sound bites. But at the end of the day, it never happened for me. And so if you're listening and it's not happening for you, don't feel bad. It didn't happen for me either. Did I change people's lives? Absolutely. Are we making an impact in our community? Definitely. And are individual people having a much better life because of what we do? No question. Am I making a change and budging the planetary outcomes? Not that I can see. and so even if it is, hanging my hat on that was just crushing my self-esteem, crushing it. And it led to, the low fee, high volume practice, to feel like if I wasn't seeing 1,000 people a week, then I wasn't doing my job. That, as Reggie said, you'll have time to golf when kids aren't subluxated. And, of course, I just literally took all the joy out of my life thinking I had to just fulfill this. It led us to the Salvation Army clinic that we were a part of. And it was honestly, I used to feel bad saying this. I don't know. It was terrible. I hated going. And it wasn't that I didn't want to help people. I just didn't want to help those people. And maybe I'm a jerk, but I want to help people that I want to help. And I want to help the people that wanted to be helped. And I don't want to save the world through chiropractic. I want to help people experience a better life. And of course, I want those people who want to have a better life. Those are the people I want to take care of. And once I got rid of that, once I got rid of the need to serve humanity through chiropractic, my life got a lot better. A lot. And hey, by the way, my practice got a lot better too.
So I don't even think it sounds good in sound bites anymore. I actually have a visceral reaction when I hear people talk about saving the world. And there's two issues. There's the issue of morality, right? It's actually morality on both issues,
right?
But it's the idea somehow that you need to sacrifice yourself for something else,
totally, which is sacrificing myself,
totally. which is completely ridiculous. Yeah. It's not your job to save the world. The world doesn't need anything. I hate quotes with that start with the world needs. The world needs people that are on fire. I don't give two craps what the world needs anymore. There's only one person that I can truly affect in this life, and that's me. And even the people like my family and my arms reach, I can do my best to help them because I actually want to, and I get joy from helping them. But at the end, you're an individual. And number two is the duty ethics, right? You must. And as soon as you adopt the position that you must do something, now you feel trapped, right? Yeah. So now your moral position is I'm supposed to sacrifice my life and give chiropractic away to the world, and it's my duty to do so. And those are just two miserable, life-destroying moralities to be operating from.
Oh, absolutely. And again, speaking from experience, and anybody who's in it right now, you might be feeling what I felt and what Cratio felt. Just know that as you make this transition, there's a whole other, world on the other side. There's a greener pasture, at least in my experience, and you can decide for yourself. But to go back to the caveat here, if you love serving humanity through chiropractic, that's a value for you. Go for it. Yeah, we're not saying 100%. Don't do it. I mean, I think the barometer here is, am I happy? And we've often said this, the happiness is a measurement of how closely you're pursuing your values. So if you're truly happy doing something, like truly, not just happy on Facebook, not just happy, in your practice, like, oh, I love being here. You guys are the best. This is awesome. I love seeing 1 million people a day. I love sweating like crazy. I love being totally exhausted at the end of the day and making $17. This is the best. If you really actually feel that way, and I don't mean to be facetious, but if you truly feel that way, then that's amazing. But if you don't, and you're just being inauthentic, that's why you feel bad. That's our whole point of the episode, is that is why you feel bad. And you don't have to feel bad. there's a whole journey to get from where you are to, where you want to be. Trust me, it's been years to go through that process. And, of course, there's ways to accelerate that. And, that's a big part of what we try our best to do with the people that we work with. And we do it because honestly, there is nothing in chiropractic, at least in my career in chiropractic, there's nothing more enjoyable than working with our clients who have a transformation. Now, I have lots of other things that are more enjoyable in my life. I'm not saying that this is like my pinnacle, but I am saying that I do enjoy it and I love it. And so when one of our clients somebody texted me last night, record day in the office, and I said, that's great. But my question really was not around, can you see more people? It was, how did it feel? Right? How did it feel? Well, it felt great. Awesome. Right? I don't care how many people you saw. The fact is, you saw what you saw, and that's great, and it felt good. And so, for you guys, go ahead.
The fact that, sorry to interrupt you, but the fact that your happiness is attached to the number of people that are coming into your practice, just think about what that says right there. Just actually sit down and be like, oh, I had a busy day, so I can feel good about myself.
Right.
Right. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's the wrong metric.
Well, and I think the important point is we're not saying don't feel good about yourself. We're saying feel good about, for me, if we have a great day that's, lots of people in for checkups and, great experiences and, great day twos and, good agreements with people, the decision about if it's good or not good is, those are just results and outcomes from a lot of hard work. That's why I like it. Right. To me, it's kind of like when we do marketing and I run a Facebook ad and all of a sudden people are converting and they're opting in. You're like, yes, it's not the fact that they're opting in, the number, sure, that we use that metric. But to me, it's like thinking of the 15 hours that I did creating, who's my audience and what do I want to say to them and what's the ad copy going to look like and what's the creative look like and, what's the follow-up going to be? And, it's that part of it. And so knowing my values, you have to do the same. You have to know what your values are. And if you are feeling bad about selling chiropractic and making agreements with people, go back and listen to the 3 pieces of today's podcast, because I think that there's a lot of stuff in there to dig into. And of course, just like I said at the start, guys, check out the retention-based practice dailies. I know you're really going to enjoy those. We're excited to continue to create that. And Cracio, I don't want to leave today's episode without, just looking at the quote behind you, because it is one of my absolute favorite quotes. And if anybody hasn't seen that quote or noticed it in the video, why don't you tell us what the quote says, Cracio?
Says, the question isn't who's going to let me, it's who's going to stop me.
Just gives me goosebumps, brother.
Yep.
Love it. Guys, check out everything from today's episode if you're listening to it online, lifebydesignforchiropractors.com/podcast. Find today's episode. If you're listening to it on Facebook, on Instagram TV, we're everywhere now. Then do your best to leave a comment. Hit the like button or love button. Share if you can do that for us too. And thank you for listening in and not joining the drive. We're on video, so I can't even edit it anymore, Cracio.
now they see how many
times I actually mess these up across the different podcasts. All right, let's go back. Thank you for listening to Life by Design for Chiropractors, the voice of reason in chiropractic.